Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene, here at Sharkpreneur. With me, is always, inventor of the infomercial and the original shark on the hit TV series Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Kevin, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Seth. Awesome to be here. Let's have some fun today.
Yes, sir. We've got a fascinating guest, Robert L. Day, founder and managing partner of WeAudit.com, who firmly believes that saving companies is saving jobs and ultimately saving families. Under his leadership, WeAudit has evolved from a modest startup to America's #1 credit card processing auditing firm. He is also the author of the recently published book, The Great American Heist, How Credit Card Processors Steal Business Profits Forward, written by none other than our very own Kevin Harrington. Robert, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time a little bit. How did WeAudit get started? I don't think you woke up at the age of 8 and said, I want to be a credit card processing auditor when I grow up, right?
No, I never dreamed I was even going to remotely be in this business. The short story is just, and actually a bank meeting in a boardroom, setting up in the ivory tower, literally, just had kind of a meltdown moment, kind of a Jerry Maguire moment, showed me the money. For me, it was, I literally blurted out with, some of the top brass just said, you guys kind of make me sick. How do you kiss your babies? Right? Like and what they were talking about was just adding these new fees. I mean, no one in the room is making less than well into the high 6 figures. Right. And so they were just talking about all the extra money this was going to make and all the extra, millions it was going to bring. But I'm like, when's enough? Right. And I said, literally, and I've said this in many interviews, I said, I got in banking to make my mother proud. I'm going to get out of banking because I can no longer tell my mother what I do. I mean, it literally was like that. And then I walked into the president's office and I just said, I can't do this anymore. And he said, well, Robert, he said, I'm surprised you've lasted this long. So I don't know if that was a compliment or an insult, but, I worked there 11 years as an executive for them. So, but just had enough, and then went into another one of my coworkers' offices and I just told him what I did. And he's like, you're crazy. And I said, yeah, probably. But I said, I want to cut grass for a living. I'm kind of done. I'm just so burnt out, right? I want something wholesome, something that my mother can be proud of, right? And everybody can be proud of that to some degree. It's just doing a day's work for a day's pay. And it was actually his idea who said, let's go out and help merchants. You know how this business works. You're sick of it. Okay, then let's make a difference. Let's go help them. And that took a while for him to persuade me, a few months actually, before I was won over to that idea. And then that's going to be 15 years here, I think. Yeah, next month. So
Robert, you knew that there was all kinds of money being taken from the businesses that had merchant accounts. Well, how did you have a software system that you could put this through and detect where there was issues, or was it an actual hand-to-hand audit that you had to do?
Well, so yeah, great question. So originally it was one at a time by hand. Then we eventually wrote a little bit of a better software program that started helping us a little bit. And then just this year, we actually have our own proprietary system that really runs full throttle so that we can do bulk audits much quicker. So, and then those still get pulled and spot checked, just like every other quality control system out there, to make sure there again that we catch everything it comes through.
Awesome.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes business owners are making that, we don't even know that we're making?
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest one is really, and it's not their fault, because in America, everything is regulated, right? I mean, everything is regulated. And when you think of banking, it's, again, extremely regulated, right? So this is a banking product, but if you think about it, here's kind of the proof in the pudding of how this all kind of has to be separated, if you will. Take Bank of America just as an example. Bank of America doesn't do credit card processing. Bank of America Merchant Services is a division of Bank of America. They do credit card processing. Chase Bank doesn't do credit card processing. They own what's called Chase Payment Tech, which does merchant processing. And the reason being is because all the banking products are regulated. So they have to have a subdivision of that bank, right, to be able to kind of break it off and have a different name, which doesn't fall under government regulation. And that's probably the biggest thing for people to grasp, because again, most people think in America, everything is so regulated, right? Which means we can trust it. If we're going to eat that meat, we know the government said, hey, you can't just go out there and get some nasty thing and serve it, or wrap it up and sell it in the store. It's got to be, quality. So, it gives people a false sense of security that when they look at their bill, that it's actually what they owe, right? But credit card processing fees are not done that way. They literally can just add something on, like an interchange clearing fee as an example. But there's no such thing as an interchange clearing fee. And it can cost a merchant 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, depending on their size. I mean, larger merchants, we're talking several $1 million, over $10 million a year. For little companies, it could be 10, 20, 30,000.
That's found money. That's a good business model. Now, in terms of your income, do you charge a fee for your services? Do you get a percentage of what you can find? How do you benefit?
Well, I wish I charged like the other guys do. They charge 50%, but I would have already bought my own island by now. So I don't do that. Everybody tells me I'm making a mistake. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. I don't know. We're growing and they're shrinking. So I don't know. I think I'm doing the right model.
I think that's your answer. You're growing,
Yeah.
and shrinking. There you go.
Yeah, because we charge basically on an hourly kind of algorithm, meaning it depends on how much time it will take from senior management all the way down to auditors, and how many hours each person basically or division has to touch it, or department rather touches it. And then we calculate that ahead of time and say, if we're going to fix your account, here's what it costs, right? Here's your flat fee. Here's what it's going to cost. And there's usually a little bit of an upfront fee because we work a lot of hours in the beginning. And then they kind of move from there to just a monthly fee to maintain it and to be on board. But even that all comes with 100%. If you don't love the results, you don't pay us. And then also, if once they're on the monthly plan, if they don't want to keep us, then they can fire us. We're no harm, no foul. We tell people we're here to help them. And if they don't love working with us, then that's fine. So, and I'm too old. I tell them, I go, let me just be honest with you. I'm too old, and maybe I'm already doing too well, but I don't want grief. And so I don't want to be locked to somebody who's not happy, right? So if somebody's not in love with us, then, let's part ways.
You seems like, one, you're way too nice. And two, who's an ideal client for you? What type of business in industry, size, processing, like what type of business is ideal for you?
Really anybody that takes credit cards for the most part. I would say if you're super, super small, when I say super small, less than 10,000 a month, there's probably nothing we can do for you. But even that, really, while that's not a good client for us, even those businesses still want to reach out to us. And the reason is if we do an audit and we find out that our fees are going to cost more than what we can save them, we still do the deal for them, and it's just our way of giving back. So people give to orchestras, they give to whatever, museums. This is just one of the things that we do to give back to businesses. So in the community overall. So, even a small company, I mean, doing just a few $1,000s would benefit from that. Even though we're not going to charge them, we'll still fix them.
Yep. Robert, do you have a favorite customer acquisition vehicle? Do you like digital? Do you like attending events? Do you like speaking? Do you go to trade shows? Where do you get the big whale clients?
Yeah, typically from trade shows and stuff like that. Of course, now I have my book with you being the forward writer, right?
Yes.
So
Awesome.
that's been used. Matter of fact, I just found out that it's actually mandated reading in one of the Florida colleges now. So I was really excited about that. So
Send me an email on that. That's really cool because I'll circulate that through our group here too.
Yeah, so I was really shocked about that and really just blown away. It was one of my neighbors. Their kid goes to college there and said, "You're never going to believe this. Our son Luke, he's got to read your book. It's required reading for his finance class." So I was pretty excited. But yeah,
good.
speaking. So like I'm getting ready to go speak at a conference actually this weekend. I'll be going to Chicago. And then again back in Chicago next month, again speaking at a conference there. So we'll do a lot of that. Really is kind of get the word out, and that's probably the easiest way for people to really hear about us is after they've sat and listened to me talk for 45 minutes or so. They've got a good grasp on what it is we do and really why they need us.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write the book, The Great American Heist?
Oh, that's crazy. So, I live in Florida, even though the company's in Missouri. And I've never been asked this question, by the way. But I was actually just laying on the lanai, just thinking life was good and really kind of wanting to kind of rest. I've worked really hard building this company and just I felt like, I don't know. I was feeling a little restless. Maybe I should do something. And then I got a call from Amazon, and because I'd previously written a book with Steve Forbes, co-authored a book, many other entrepreneurs as well. I was just one. And so they said, "Hey, that book really did well. Would you like to do your own book? We would really be interested in doing your own book." And I said, "No." But they kept pestering me. And eventually, we move forward. So yeah, and just for the record, I'm never writing another book. Just I thought my marriage was going to end. It was such a task. So that was crazy.
It's always nice when a publisher pesters you and wants to publish your material. So that certainly says something about the value of what you are creating. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Yeah, I love it. I love what I do. Yeah. I mean, for the first 9 years, I didn't even take a paycheck from the company because I just love doing what I do.
What do you love about it?
Oh, what do I love about it? Well, so another little quick story there is, my parents, God bless them, they struggled deeply, with many things. And at the age of 9, they walked me into the family room, or I guess not the family room, the living room, the only room we had in this little farmhouse. And they said, "Dad's leaving. And you need to figure out who you want to live with." And I'm looking at all my other older siblings looking, crying. My dad's looking at his feet. And I thought even then, I'm like, "What's wrong with you people? Like, you can't work it out. Like, come on, And so from there, from the age of 9 until I joined the Army at 18, I moved 19 times, living with different family members and getting kind of just, passed along. And so, clearly that leaves a mark on you, right? I mean, you just, it's not something you go, "Oh yeah," a lot of times I get very emotional just even thinking about it. And so, and I think that kind of played back into even that day in the boardroom meeting. Like, I was blessed. I was making good money, but then it's like, when's enough? And what about maybe taking it easy on the everyday person, right? Because we all know, I mean, businesses and families just they struggle, more struggle than succeed, right? And if we're being the heavy on them, that's what I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to, even when I started this company, I said, hey, the world's got enough a-holes. I don't want to be another one, right? Like, so if we're not going to do things different, then I don't want to be part of it.
Awesome. Hey, Robert, I got a question though. You're doing all of this very successfully here in the United States and growing. Is there opportunity in international or foreign markets to do what you do, or is it domesticated?
Yeah, we've explored all the different markets, but the only one that we really thrive in right now is Canada. And even Canada has a very different system. But believe it or not, most of America or not most of America, most of the country, back up here, most of the world is very regulated. We're the only ones that are unregulated as much as we are in this arena. Every other country, they're pretty strict on it.
Are there, in the credit card processing world, there are companies that work in specific industries, like if you're high risk, or hey, we don't do cannabis, or we don't do online gambling. Can you audit any credit card processing company anywhere, or does like the industry matter to you as the auditor?
Yeah, the industry doesn't matter. We get asked that all the time. Companies will say, we do this or we do that. And I'm like, okay, but you wouldn't go to a bank and say, hey, are you a good fit for us? We're going to deposit money into your bank account, right? And we're a sports place, we're a trucking company, whatever, right? Because we're dealing with credit card processing, and that credit card doesn't know where it was. It doesn't know how it was spent. It doesn't care. And that's what we're looking at, is just the credit card transactions and how those cards are settling, clearing, and how they're being billed. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it's going to be the same to us.
Got it. For our folks watching and listening that want to learn more and maybe save some money on their credit card processing, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you, and where is the best place for them to go to get the book?
So they can go out to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the places like that sell the book, of course, or they can go to greatamericanheist.com. That's actually a site that's dedicated to the book. They can go out there again to weaudit.com, which has a lot of what we do and how easy we do it, and they can get a free audit and all of that. And when I say free, there's no strings attached. There's no big, long anything to fill out. Again, we're looking to help people, not trap people. So we make it as easy as we can to engage with us. And then, we kind of say we're like Costco. We give the free cookie, right? Eat it. If you like it, buy the bag. Let's move on. If you don't like it, chuck the other half in the trash and keep walking.
There you go. Robert, you're awesome. It's good being part of your book. Congratulations on an awesome book and the success in schools, et cetera. And let's keep plugging. And thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.